Hi guys, we are back with the full video guide for the Ignite Discharge Hipster, I guess, Trickster. A lot of people on Reddit yesterday wanted video guide. There is a lot of confusion around the build, around Ignites. I will explain everything, I will show PoB, I will share it. We will demonstrate the build even more today. There is two other videos on the channel that showcase the build against Simulacrum, Delirium, T16, Conqueror, Cyrus, Awakener Hate, and so on and so on. We are going to showcase a little bit of the map showcase for the people who didn't follow yesterday, I guess. And also because I kind of want to play better than I did yesterday to showcase the build more. Of course, it's fucking Sunken City and I hate this map, I don't understand it. Just a quick note, why do I have Rampage? Check my offhand later in the video and you will see that I have this Invicta axe. I just kill one enemy with this Invicta axe equipped, and then I switch back to my main weapon and it triggers Rampage. Anyway, why do I choose to fight the Elder in this video? Because if you copy my character from PoE Ninja, and the PoB only shows like 2 million DPS instead of the 10 million I say, because I will show it later, PoE Ninja is a bit bad and PoB is a bit bad if you don't really know how to use it for Ignite build. And we are going to fight Elder because Elder has an amount of life we know about. Oops, sorry boss, I'm not looking at you. Okay, phased. Ubel Elder has over 40 million health. I don't remember. Ooh, shit. Sorry boss. Is it... I'm sorry, I didn't want to disturb you. So, basically, if I kill him, well, phase him, I guess, in one Ignite, it means that my build deals more than 40 million damage over... Can you stop? God damn it. That my build deals more than 40 million damage per Ignite, basically. You can already see that the damage is quite good. I think it's a monster life. Yes, it's monster life. And unique boss life. So that was a lot of HP. But I guess showcasing against the Elder will be the best proof that the build deals more than 40 million damage per Ignite. The Ignite lasts 6 seconds. You can check that in PoB. That's the real number. So basically it's more than 8 million Shaper DPS, Shaper Elder DPS. Even if you don't believe what PoB says, the gameplay will show it to you. Anyway, in the other videos you can see me one-shot all Conquerors, even a Delirium Baran, which had a shit ton of HP. It only took 1.5 Ignite to kill him. You can also see Cyrus getting insta-phased with Ignites. And basically the last phase was only 2 Ignites. When I play better than I did, it's basically 5 Ignite kill Cyrus. And you will see during the Elder fight that I just ignite once and Elder dies. Then I one-shot every portal. Then I one-shot Elder in his life fest. I don't even need to move, I guess. And Shaper is pretty much the same story. I won't showcase Shaper because I don't have the fragments and it will be too long of a showcase. But Shaper is basically the same idea. Oops, sorry, I misplayed badly. Even then he died instantly. Why do I say that? Because Shaper has a fixed amount of life, just like Elder. And basically, if you deal 37 million damage, you phase him. And obviously, once again, I phase him in one ignite each time. Obviously, he has a 8-second vulnerability phase. Was that boss life? Yes, it was against boss life. So you can see the damage is quite stupid. So I usually need 2 ignites, or I just wait the invulnerability phase for Shaper, and then I just ignite any phase instantly. Quick note, I've already recorded the video guide, so I'm probably saying the same things. Why I'm so slow? Oh, I forgot Rampage. But the idea of the build is 6-second discharge ignite for a shit ton of damage per second, and we have 6 seconds to get charges, which is much better than 2 seconds, or even less, for other discharge build. And because we are dealing so much ignite damage, as you can see, our freezing pulse, which is very bad for bossing, but we are not using it for bossing, we are using it for clearing, and it's very good for clearing with ignites. You can even play, I guess, anything else with Discharge Freezing Pulse as a clearing spell. Oh, it's the same my boss. Funny. As you can see, Freezing Pulse deals enough damage to one-shot every pack, and since Discharge is very long cooldown and feels very bad for mapping, unless you got like a 1 second Discharge cooldown, which is something you can do with Second Wind, for example, instead of a Wind Affliction, I guess, and cooldown reduction on belts and boots. You can have 1 second discharge in one 6-link, and then the real discharge for boss in another setup, I guess, and you can discharge every pack. I don't know how it would feel, I never tried it. Probably feel good, but Freezing Pulse already one-shot every pack, as you saw, even Delirium. You can see it in the other video, one-shot Delirium packs, and when there is a rare, a huge Delirium mob, just discharge, and the whole screen get destroys. As you can see, the discharge is quite huge. The only problem of the build is that when you talk like me, you are playing like shit, basically. There you go. And you are forgetting to get your endurance charges. I explain everything later in the video. That's why it will probably last more than an hour. The build is quite complicated to understand, especially if you've never played Ignite. And I'm explaining Ignite, I'm explaining the conversion, how to deal damage, how to calculate your DPS. There's a lot of shit going on in the video, because the build is a bit complicated to understand, I guess, if you are not used to this kind of build. As you can see, the DPS is extremely good, the mapping is extremely fast. Well, it's fast. It's not an auto bomber thing, but it's quite good. And now we are going to prove we have a shit ton of damage, not like PoE Ninja says I do, by one igniting Elder, I guess. So remember, I think Elder has 42 million health, something like that, I suppose. And do we one ignite him? No, we didn't. We got a very bad. Hello, what's going on? What? What was going on? Did we one ignite him? I don't know. It was weird. If we didn't, it was because there is one problem with discharge, and I think every assassin discharge know my pain. Power charges is lightning damage, and if we look at the variation, you can see that lightning damage has a huge variation. So if we get 500 roll per power charges. The its power charges is basically half our damage. So sometimes we don't get the huge discharge if we get a very bad lightning roll. It's quite rare though, because we still have half of our charges are endurance and frenzy charges. So the variation is not that big, but even when it happens sometimes, you know, and it can feel clunky. That's why the build really feels clunky a lot of time. It's when you miss your timing. For example, you misjudge how long your endurance charge will last, and there you go. We can see a good roll. There you go, one shot elder with one ignite. It was a good roll this time. Well, a normal roll, I guess, because the other one was in fact bad instead of this one being good. And oh, oops, sorry. So you can see PoB says I have 2 million damage, like 10 million per ignite. That's absolutely not true. Even the first roll dealt more than 20 million damage to the Shaper. So don't take PoE Ninja PoB shit into account. I will show the real PoB numbers, how to calculate ignite properly in the second part of the video, if I can if I can get it to work, I guess. Sorry, I'm not a moon stage kind of video guide. Once again, there is a lot more videos of the, well, 2 more videos, a lot more gameplay of the build if you want. I was extremely stressed during the other videos, so the gameplay is not very good. I'm playing very poorly, but you can still see what's going on. To answer the few questions there was on the Reddit, the build at the moment is over 30 hex. Yes, it's quite a lot, but you will see in the next part of the video I explain how to do it very cheaper, where I leak started with this, how the build evolved, basically Fireball into Stormfire, Discharge, Archmage with a Frostferno, and until I got my Ferals 4. That's basically how the build leak started with. And obviously, now that I am swimming in money, lol, I could get the build together and get some luxury item like this one, which helps mostly in terms of defense and speed. The damage didn't change a lot for since a long time. I just got better defenses and better speed. Well, hope you are prepared for the next 1-hour video, because there is a lot of explanation going on with a lot of PoB. But for those who like it, stay for it. Comment, I will answer everything I can, and I hope you guys liked it. So we are going to explain the build, Discharge Ignite Trickster. Here is the normal discharge when you are not playing very well. As you see, it's a whole screen already, and this is when you are playing well. As you can see, our discharge is bigger than off screen. How does it work? Look at the frenzy charge and power charge at the top of the screen, as well as this buff, cat stealth and catch at agility. These are aspects of the cat, which we craft on the boots for this build. Basically, every 6 seconds we get cat stealth back. And why is it important? Farrell's 4 says that we gain our maximum frenzy and power charges when we get cat stealth. So every 6 seconds, as you can see here, we get our charges back to full. Right here. Sometimes, I don't know why, sometimes it bugs out a little bit, but doesn't matter. We get endurance charges with Vol Devotions, which says that we get endurance charge. Every time we lose a power charge, we have more power charge than endurance charge, so we get full endurance charge. So the idea is basically to discharge every 6 seconds when we get cat stealth back. If you do that properly, like this, every 6 seconds, you always discharge with 21 charge, with this huge discharge all the time. Why did I choose to play Trickster, Ignite, and 6 seconds? Basically, discharge at a 2-second cooldown, and getting charges in less than 2 seconds is quite hard for almost every variation of this build, every normal variation of this build. Ignite allows us to only need the charges every 4, 6, 8 seconds, depending on which version you are running. In our case, 6 seconds. And as you can see, thanks to Farrell's 4, we get all these charges before we have to refresh the Ignite. So basically, since Ignite deals double the damage of the spell, basically, it's how Ignite works. It deals double your damage over 4 seconds. So in a normal setup, you can translate that saying, okay, I can discharge twice in 4 seconds, or if I discharge once and ignite with that discharge, I will deal the same damage in 4 seconds, since I dealt damage of 2 discharge in 4 seconds. That's the idea behind the build. Now, at this stage, my Ignite lasts 6 seconds, so I deal the same damage with a single discharge as if I was casting 3 discharge in 6 seconds. But I only need to find the charges once instead of twice in 6 seconds, which is much more manageable. That was the idea behind the build. So, you understood the trick with Vol Devotion and Fallen's 4. On a side note, Badge of the Brotherhood is not a good upgrade for this build, since we lose endurance charge generation. I guess you can find endurance charges with other ways, but in a very optimized setup for Badge of the Brotherhood, I only had 5% more damage for like 100 Exalt. I guess you can understand it's not a very good idea for almost anyone. Then, how do we ignite? Because this is cold damage and this is lightning damage. If we look at discharge, cold damage per frenzy and lightning damage per power charge. Endurance charge is the one dealing fire damage. We can ignite with lightning damage, so with power charges, thanks to this unique, your lightning damage can ignite. And we can get ignite for frenzy charges, thanks to the gloves, your cold damage can ignite. So basically, these 4 items, the glove, the ring, Farrell's 4 and Bold Devotion, are core for this build. On a side note, before you can get Farrell's 4, which is a very expensive item for most people, I was running another item, which is the Frost Furno helmet. The Frost Furno helmet is this helmet, and since discharge is a cold, fire, and lightning gem, it gets +2 to level for each line, and then we have supported by level cold to fire. So this helmet is a 5.5 link for discharge, before you can get Farrell's 4. How does it work? You slot Discharge and the other normal spells, and you can, if you find a way to get Discharge on any other in any other way, you can do it very cheap. What I did at the league starter, I was playing Archmage Ignite, so Archmage had a lot and a huge amount of flat lightning damage, and look at the effectiveness of added damage of Discharge, it's 450%. So we boost Archmage damage by a lot, and then Stormfire allows the Archmage boost to ignite. So I only needed to slot Discharge and Archmage, generate one charge. Any way I can generate any charge, it doesn't matter. Obviously we are Trickster, and Trickster use Swift Killer, which says gain a power of friendly charge each second while channeling. So I run any channeling skill, get one charge, any charge works, and then I pressed Discharge and Archmage was dealing the damage with only one charge. It didn't matter. You can either run Cyclone with, for example, Fortify and a curse linked to it, or you can use Divine Ire. We will get back to Divine Ire later because it's a very interesting spell for this build. There is a lot of filler spell, I will explain later, but the idea of Divine Ire is that it's a very good channeling spell for this build. Of course, thank you. And you only need one charge, so 1 second of channeling Divine Ire, and I could discharge with Frostferno Archmage at the league starter. Obviously, once you get Fabulous 4, the damage gets much more insane because you can stack a lot of Frenzy and Power Charge, and for very cheap at the beginning, obviously not that much charges, but still it's better than Archmage. Another note on the gear, we are using Essence Worm with our Aura Malevolence linked in it to get a full mana bar because we are an agnostic, no, not an agnostic, sorry, a mind over matter build. I was agnostic as well at the beginning when I had no gear whatsoever because I was playing Archmage, remember, and I didn't have Corrupted Soul, which comes from the Glorious Vanity Timeless Jewel. This Timeless Jewel is extremely expensive, so before you can get it, which says you get basically a shit ton of extra energy shield. In our case, it's 1.5k energy shield. Before you can get that, get agnostic and be an Archmage. It's much easier and it costs basically nothing, and you don't need Pharaoh's 4 to make it work. That's how I played the build for a very long time. Frostferno, Archmage, Archmage everywhere. You can even play with a Cloak of Defiance and add the Refoilable in the amulet slot, and you are basically an Archmage, but you are playing Discharge Ignite instead of normal Archmage stuff. Then we need to craft Aspect of the Cat. It's either on the helmet or the boots, because we need to link it with less duration and Swift Affliction. Awakened Swift Affliction is not mandatory. I'll explain later. Look at the boots. We have grants level Aspect of the Cat skill, which means that the sockets, Swift Affliction and less duration lowers the duration of the buff, and we want as little of a buff as possible because we want to have cat stealth as fast as possible, because each time cat stealth triggers here, we get charged back. And with normal aspect of the cat, it's 12 seconds, and obviously discharging only once every 12 seconds is completely out of question. There is a little trick here going on, in that Malevolence, look at the second line, increased skill effect duration. This means that aspect of the cat lasts longer. There is another of this problem in Trickster. Prolonged Pain is the best damage boost you can have from Trickster, but it also says 20% increased skill effect duration. So Malevolence and Prolonged Pain are both pain in the ass for aspect of the cat. So I needed a way to I need to find a discharge that lasts less time than the refresh of aspect of the cat, but at the same time I can't have a 10-second aspect of the cat. It's too long, it feels horrible. Fortunately, just with less duration and Awaken Swift Affliction, we go down to 6 seconds. And with 2 blowback clusters, we get the ignite to around 6 seconds. So basically, every time we get aspect of the cat back, we can refresh, ignite for 6 seconds, dealing full damage of the ignites, not losing damage per second at all. Before I got this cluster is quite expensive to get, and basically running Cooked Alive because it's insane in terms of damage. Using Doriani for Life Lich, and using Sadist because we are chilling, igniting, and choking every time we discharge, and it's the best damage boost for this build. And Prismatic Earth because why not? You can also get Burning Fire, I think is the name, instead of Prismatic Earth. So this is very expensive. So how did I do before I got the 2 blowback? Before I got the 2 blowback, the ignite duration was a little bit less than 8 seconds, but I didn't had Awaken Swift Affliction, so my aspect of the cat was around 7 seconds, something like that. So basically I was wasting 1 second of ignite each time I was discharging, but the damage is so big anyway that it didn't feel weird. And also, since I was pretty bad at the beginning, this build you really need to play it a lot to make it feel good, because you know it's a timing thing. There is a lot of buttons. The map showcase will explain it better. You will see that there is a lot of buttons. You have to take care of a lot of things while playing. You have to anticipate for boss fights. So having 7 or 8 seconds to prepare myself to ignite, to discharge with the full charges, helped me learning the build a little bit. Obviously, getting to 6 seconds aspect of the cat and 6 second ignite is way better in terms of damage and speed, but you need blowback to make it work like this. Not mandatory, but if you don't have blowback, no point getting Awakened Swift Affliction. You can get any increased duration anywhere else on the tree. Don't get that, obviously, and don't get that wheel, but you can get that wheel. I was playing that wheel when I was playing Agnostic, when I was playing Archmage, because obviously I was pathing here for Agnostic, here for Dynamo, and Here for Supreme Ego, since we are only running Malevolence, but Supreme Ego also increased skill effect duration. So I was obviously pathing here through this wheel, since we are pathing through here, which is perfect. We can grab this wheel for nothing. It's basically free, and it basically remove the Malevolence bonus for skill effect duration, which is perfect. It also helps when you have no gear whatsoever, because you are pathing through a lot of resistances. That's how the build was very cheap to start with for me. And Supreme Ego is 8% more damage, so very nice boost for basically nothing. So once you get a lot of money, once you get Farul's Four, once you get Corrupted Soul, once you get Blowback and Awakened Swift Affliction, you can switch to this version of the build. Basically, before that, be an Archmage, Discharge with Agnostic, Dynamo, Supreme Ego, Window of Opportunity, Mind over Matter, Elemental Equilibrium, of course, and then adjust. I won't show everything about the leveling gear. We are 3 weeks into the league, so I don't see very well why I should explain the starting build more than that. Just play another build to get the gear if you really want to play this build as it is right now. Just be aware that Pharaoh's 4 is extremely expensive, that Corrupted Soul, this Timeless Jewel, is extremely expensive, and these clusters are very expensive. You are looking at 20x easily for all 3 of these items. You don't really need a 6-link Pharaoh's 4, let me explain. You can perfectly play with a Frost Ferno before you can 6-link your Pharaoh's 4, or even 5-link it. And you also don't need to 6-link your Filer spell. Here is Freezing Pulse. This is my Filer spell for mapping. When Discharge is not up, I use this to kill packs. It doesn't need to be 6-link. I was playing with a 5-link for a very long time, and it killed the pack just as good. Okay, maybe the pack survives 0.2 seconds more, so it's not mandatory. You only need 5-link on your weapon and 5-link in the Pharaoh's 4, and it works. But obviously, a 6-link Pharaoh's 4 is better. You can slot Discharge. You basically want one 6-link, either the weapon or the chest for your Discharge, and then you can remove Frost Ferno, and you can get +1 to maximum power charge helmet. I choose Crown of the Inward Eye with the Corruption because we are running mana, energy shield, and life, so the helmet is obviously insane for this build. But you don't need it. You don't need this exact helmet. You can play with any power charge helmet with life, resistances, whatever else you want, and it will be very good until you can find yourself this helmet. Basically, this helmet, only use it anyway when you get to Corrupted Soul, so you can also get the boost to Energy Shield. Before you get the boost to Energy Shield, anyway, you are not playing Corrupted Soul, so that means you are probably going to run the Discharge version, and you kind of don't need Crown of the Inward Eye for the Archmage version, and Frostferno is probably a cheaper option you are running anyway. Then the belt is just capping resistances. Obviously, if you can get a belt like this with energy shield, life, and mana, it's very good, since once again we are playing all 3. But it's not mandatory. The Abyss Jewel, just life, damage, whatever. you can get resistances too. And then we have the staff. Any classic discharge staff are good. I don't know if I have one in here, maybe. Let's see if we have one. Yeah, we have the Searing Touch. We don't have it to show it, but it's the classic Ignite staff, and it's very cheap. You can buy a 6-link, for example, for 1 exalt, I guess, and it's only like 20% less damage than this one. This is the new base type from Haste, +1 to maximum power charge and maximum endurance charge. We love it, obviously. The only issue with this staff, well, there is two. First, it's a war staff, not a staff, so it can't get +3 to level of all fire, lightning, cold gems, for example. So you kind of need to link your discharge in it instead of having it elsewhere and only having like a 5-link here and then your discharge in your false through. No, you need the weapon to be 6-link because you need to socket discharge in it. There is also the problem that it can't have all mods of all of the good staff mods, and the problem of Haste is that you can't get high level 84, so you can get the +1 to maximum power charges from Shaper or I think it's Crusader influence. So you can get +1 to maximum power charge and maximum endurance charge implicit, and then get +1 to maximum power charge suffix. It can't happen since we can get high level 84. The best staff possible is not an eventuality road. It's a normal staff, like judgment staff or any other caster staff, with +1 to maximum power charges, persistent damage per power charges, or level +3 to level of all fire, for example, or lightning or cold gem. This is obviously extremely expensive to get. It's almost my raw tier item, and it's only like 10 to 15% more damage than a perfect eventuality road. This is not a perfect eventuality road. A perfect eventuality road is around 40x. You can probably craft it for 30x, I guess, and it's 10 to 15% more damage than this one. It's for a lot of money, so I'm satisfied with this version for now. I will try to get a better one later. One important thing to note about the eventuality road is the Veil mod, the Veil crafted mod. This is crafted once you've unlocked it. Where is it? I think it's here. It is unveiled through Mrs. June. Here is it, Phoenix. Why do I use this over a normal fire damage? Because as you can see, the normal fire damage is only 1% more damage, so basically nothing. Oh, quick note, don't craft spell damage. Spell damage doesn't work on Ignite. It will not grant any damage whatsoever to your build. You need to craft fire damage. So why do I use chance to ignite? Because you need 100% chance to ignite with every hit. Chance to ignite is not like chance to shock or chance to freeze. Chance to shock and chance to freeze lower the threshold. Basically, if you deal 10 damage, it might not be enough to trigger shock or freeze on a mob. And if you have 100% chance to shock, you will not always shock. It just means that you need to deal, instead of 10 damage, you need to deal 5 damage to trigger a shock. Chance to ignite is not the same. Chance to ignite is exactly what it means. It's a chance to ignite. If you only have 50% chance to ignite, your ignite will only ignite. Your fire damage, or in this case lightning and cold damage too, will only get 50% chance to ignite. Even if it deals 1 or 1 million damage, it doesn't matter, only half chance. So we need 100% chance to ignite. So there is a few chance to ignite on the tree, here, here, and here. That's why we use this thread of hope. It is a lot of free points from going all the way through here. Even though these nodes are very good, it's quite expensive to get all the way through here, and it's better to spend the point elsewhere, unless you really want to go full damage like an idiot. And this thread of hope also allows us to get spell damage, recovery, energy shield. So we can regen energy shield now. Here we regen life. It also gives us this node, since we need a lot of dexterity to use dash. If you don't use dash, you probably don't need to take this. It also allows us to get this node. This is an insane damage node. Fire damage, cold damage. Well, critical chance is useless, but it's kind of hard to explain. I will explain later why getting cold and lightning damage is good. We also get lightning damage here. This node, I don't recommend it if you can get your resistances together, but since my resistances are barely capped, I need it to cap lightning resistance, and it's a good node anyway. Cast speed works with discharge. Back to what was I saying about 100% chance to ignite. So cooked alive, 2 cooked alive with these nodes and the chance to ignite, Veil Craft, give us almost 100% chance to ignite. The 2% we are missing come from Holy Dominion. We are pathing here anyway to get Endurance Charge and Power Charge from this Intuitive Leap jewel. You can get the Power Charge through here if you don't want to go with the Intuitive Leap route, but since I want to pass to Holy Dominion to get 100% chance to ignite anyway, it also gives elemental resistance, a lot of it, so it makes the gearing much easier as well. So the pathing feels much smoother this way, and also much cheaper. So thanks to these two, and the chance to ignite, we don't have to use combustion. Combustion is normally used in almost every ignite build, but once you get 100% chance to ignite, combustion is not the best chance to the best ignite gems anymore. It is outshined by a lot of other options, especially in this build. So getting the chance to ignite modifier here allows it to remove it and use a better gem. The better gem is basically Awaken Swift Affliction Support. So I'm going to explain Ignite. It's a little bit difficult, so follow along. As I said, Ignite deals its damage over 4 seconds. You deal half the damage of the base damage of your spell each second for 4 seconds. So you deal double the damage of your spell in 4 seconds. So when we look at PoB, this is my PoB. Don't look at the numbers. I will explain later why it is so high. When you look at PoB, you have to take the ignite damage per second, not take the total damage per ignite. Total damage per ignite is the damage you will deal with only one ignite. Okay? I can get over 1 million damage per ignite. Well, 100, sorry, if I want to, but with lower damage per second. I just need to increase the duration of my ignite. For example, let's remove Awaken and Bound element. Look at the damage. We lost a shit ton of damage per ignite, but we didn't lose that much ignite per second. Look, if I get power charge on critical, we almost have the same damage pass per second than with Unbound element, but we have a lot less damage per ignite. Look, if I do it again, 50 per ignite. Let's switch back to Unbound element. We go back to almost double the damage per ignite, but the ignite DPS, look at that, it's almost the same, 16 million instead of 15 million. Why that? Because Awaken and Bound elements increase by a huge amount the duration of the ignite. That's why the total damage of one ignite is huge. It's because of Unbound element and other ignite duration. We don't care about that much. We need our ignite to last less or as much time as the refresh. And remember, the refresh is 6 seconds. So don't put all the best ignite total damage if it means your ignite lasts longer than your refresh. It's stupid. It's wasted DPS. It looks good on PoB, but in game it fucking sucks if there is 2 seconds of your damage per ignite that basically doesn't deal damage. Basically, what's the point? That's also why we, for our filler spell, Freezing Pulse is our spell. I don't use Unbound element, as you can see, because we don't care if the ignite lasts a lot of time against trash mob. We want trash mob to get killed very, very fast, so we only take the best gems to get a lot of damage ignites per second, not a lot of total ignite. We don't care about a lot of damage per ignite. We want ignite per second. So we are not using Unbound element with the fire spell. We use it for discharge because we need our discharge to last around 6 seconds. And blowback, ignite deal damage faster, means that, for example, if I have 25% faster ignite, a base ignite is 4 seconds. With 25%, it's only now 3 seconds. It will deal the same damage in 3 seconds than it dealt in 4 seconds. Right? So it's the same amount of damage, but in less time. So better DPS. Okay? But we don't want our build to have 2 seconds where the boss is not dealt any damage because we are waiting for charges, right? So we need Unbound element to upgrade the duration of the charge to be 6 seconds with the blowback jewels clusters. Yes, you can see that there is a lot of timing going on in this build, but don't worry, the damage is very good even if you screw up a bit. As I said, my first version of the build when I was poor, discharge was 8 second ignite, and I had no aspect of the cat and shit, but still, discharge ignite deals so much damage it didn't matter against yellow bosses or yellow mobs. It just, if you want to push the build to endgames, you kind of need to be a little bit aware of what you are doing. You can check on PoB how much time your discharge lasts. You can see it lasts 5 point, well, almost 6 seconds. It's actually a little bit faster than that because my boots are not my real boots, and my in-game boots got ignite faster, but this is extremely rare. I don't think there is anyone on the market right now anyway. So don't take this into account. And we can also see the aspect of the cat's duration. So where is it? Duration, skill duration is here. So a little bit more than 6 seconds overall. It's a little bit weird how PoB show this. Anyway, we can see in game that it's 3 seconds, and so it's in Cosmos instantly to 2 seconds, so it's around 6 seconds. I guess if you are really into theory crafting and math, you can optimize it even more, but in real gameplay, you don't always instantly discharge any time you get it. Okay, it's impossible. There is human reaction, there is stuff going on, you don't always refresh instantly. Okay, so I guess getting a discharge that lasts a little bit longer than 6 seconds, you can totally do it, and you will not feel like you're losing damage in game because you are not refreshing perfectly each time. That was how to deal damage with Ignite. Now let's try to understand a little bit how to get more damage, because you have to understand that Ignite is purely fire damage. Even if we are dealing lightning and cold damage to Ignite, the Ignite itself is fire damage, so any fire node gives bonus damage to the Ignite. But you also have to understand that getting increased lightning and cold damage, like this node here, also boost the base damage of the spell, so it's also an upgrade for Ignite. But since we are dealing cold, lightning and fire damage to proc Ignite, obviously fire and lightning and cold increase are not as good as fire damage. Like this node, it's 25 increased lightning damage and it's around 1% more damage. Whereas a very bad node, fire node, as you can see, only 15% increase is already more damage than 25 lightning, because we are not only dealing lightning damage to proc Ignite. That's also why this node, as you can see, is very good, 4% damage, because it's both fire and cold damage. So it boosts the frenzy damage. Whoops, let's get back here. So you want to prioritize fire damage, burning damage, and so on. It's better than cold and lightning boost. But elemental damage, like here, 20% increase elemental damage, is obviously very good as well. Well, there is increased duration, so not a good example. Let me unsocket this for a moment. Like here, as you can see, 10% increased damage is also a little boost, since it works on lightning, cold, and the Ignite damage. Or does it? Oh no, I'm saying crap. It only works on the on the Ignite damage. Sorry. So elemental damage is still a boost, since you can consider it fire damage. Anyway, elemental equilibrium. Let's talk about elemental overload first. Since we are running a lot of power charges, we are critting a lot, and we are using a Stormbrand to proc elemental equilibrium. So we have a shit ton of uptime on elemental overload. That's also why I choose to go with critical strike chance, if you haven't crit recently, to get a huge uptime on elemental overload. You can go with a critical strike on your Cinder Solo flask as well for the same purpose. I choose to go with avoid stunt because I already had enough uptime for, in my opinion, and I wanted to avoid stun. Before I go back to PoB, the Cinder Solo is the only unique flask you can use with maybe the bottled face. Bottled face is 10% more damage. Obviously, it's 10% more damage for all builds anyway, but it's extremely expensive. Because yeah, Ignite is a bit weird to understand, okay? Look at Wise Hawk. Does it give more damage? It doesn't give us more damage, even though our highest resistance is fire damage, fire resistance. Why? Because the line is damage penetrate resistance, and Ignite is not considered damage because it is not a hit, it is a damage over time. So any damage penetrate line doesn't boost the damage of Ignite. That's why we don't get damage penetrate on the boots, for example, and that's why this line, damage penetrate 2% of elemental resistance, also doesn't work. I don't know why why am I using this jewel? Anyway. So Cinder Shallow is the only unique flask you can really use to get better damage, because it says enemy ignited by you take increased damage, basically. It also gives onslaught, which is very good for mapping. You are probably wondering why I don't check it on PoB, because against bosses it's very unlikely you have the flask up. Well, against most boss you will have it, but it's crab boss, so it's not really relevant. You will not have it for Cyrus, so I don't check it anyway. You can go PoB warrior and check it if you will, but I'm not a PoB warrior, so I won't. So let's back to the tree to expand a little bit. Elemental overload, good uptime. Elemental equilibrium. So as long as we hit only with power and frenzy charges, we are only dealing cold and fire damage. So the ignite actually proc with elemental equilibrium. We don't have any form of added fire damage to spell. Just don't do it. I had boots with added fire damage for a long time before I realized it was why my clearing felt shit. I didn't understand for a longer time because I didn't realize I was dealing fire damage with discharge and with my clearing spell, which was divine higher at the time. When you check here, you can see at the moment I deal cold and lightning damage only, so I proc elemental equilibrium once again. Ignite is only a fire damage, even though it proc through cold and lightning damage. So perfect, right? But when we use Ender Discharge, now we are dealing fire damage with Discharge. We are using Stormbrand to proc elemental equilibrium back, because Stormbrand is lightning damage, so when it ticks, it proc less fire resistances on the boss, as once again, Ignite is not a hit, it's a damage over time. So even if you are actively dealing damage with Ignite, it does not proc fire damage for elemental equilibrium. That's why a lot of PoB people cheered on the Reddit thread about my build, said, oh, you only have like 2 million damage. Yes, of course. See, if I unchecked ignore skill hit damage, the damage just fail very quickly. that line states that even though I deal fire damage with ignite my discharge, we are going to ignore it because we want PoB to show me the damage if Stormbrand hit by lightning damage, if Stormbrand is hitting the boss. At the same time, thus it is proccing Elemental Equilibrium back. That's why I can't say, for example, my build is dealing here for this PoB 16 million damage per second, because there is a little moment where the elemental equilibrium is fire resistances, or instead of less fire resistances, there is 1 or 2 ticks before Stormbrand hit again. Okay, but for convenience, let's say it deal 16 million damage. It's easier to understand that way. As I said, if you are playing Archmage, Agnostic, Supremigo. What else can I say? Oh yeah, we are playing Mind Over Matter because we have a huge mana pool anyway. You are not forced to play it like that. You can totally remove Essence Worm and put another ring in here. For example, Astral Projector Ring is a very good ring. You can cast Discharge instead of around you. You can cast it anywhere else. It's a very good idea for the build if you want to be extremely safe and clear packs in front of you extremely efficiently. But I mean, we are Trickster. Trickster get a lot of free mana. We are getting a lot of free mana anyway. As you can see, we are only using 5 points, these two, and this one, to get basically 2k HP. On a quick note, if you want to calculate how much mana you want based on your life to tank a hit, it's not... oops, I don't have anything weird. No, I don't have anything weird. Great. You have to take this formula, which is not this one. Don't do the... oops. Don't do this one. Okay, this is not the real number. Even though we are tanking 30% of damage is taken from mana before love, this is not how math works. The real math is this. I will not explain it, just check Wikipedia if you want. So this is the amount of mana I want for my actual life. So I need more, a little bit more than that, because I need to be able to cast, even if I take a huge hit. So I'm aiming for a little bit more than 2,000. Okay, so I basically, in my eyes, Essence Worm is basically 2k HP with 5 points on the tree, and I don't see how it can get better than that. I mean, the only other solution is to completely remove mana, remove Mind Over Matter, these, and go full stupid damage and losing a lot of the health pool. But hey, I guess if you want to, you can do it. I mean, if we do it, we can get a shit ton of damage. We can go full PoB warrior if you really want to. Okay, but this is just an idea. And then you can get a better ring, maybe a ring with power charges, maximum power charges implicit, or Astral Projector, or you know, that kind of stuff for a shit ton of more damage. But do we really need more damage? Really? No, I don't think so. So yeah, that was PoB. Just a quick note on this Natural Instinct Jewel. You don't need a Natural Instinct. I only got it recently. Before that, I was running with Intuitive Lip here. Yeah. And I was simply taking these 4 nodes. 5 nodes. Sorry. You don't even have to. You don't obligatory have to take this one. or you can remove this one instead. I guess it's the same idea between the two nodes. And it was just working as fine. It's just that um, a natural instinct allows us to get a few points get to basically not spend as much points, so it's better overall, but it's extremely expensive for almost no bonus, so it's the last upgrade basically. Okay, don't get it first, get an intuitive leap first here. As you can see, we run a lot of dexterity because dash has a huge dexterity requirement, and dash is obviously the best movement skill with a perfect lightning warp, which leads to the gem socket. We are a bit starved in gem sockets since we are running 2 spells. For example, here I am running the Wave of Conviction and I have to link it with Immolate, level 1 Wave of Conviction with Immolate, because if I want to proc fire exposure, because of the gloves that convert physical to cold, I need to deal more fire damage than cold damage, so this is the only way to do it. So our Wave of Conviction is a 2 link instead of a classic 1 link for most builds. We also have to run less duration and swift affliction in aspect of the cat, so it's another 2 link. So as you can see, the links go very fast in this build. I was using lightning warp, so everything was linked before here, and I was using lightning warp and faster casting, and I had both dash and lightning warp, and the character was stupidly fast. I won't explain how lightning warp works, but just like aspect of the cat, you need less duration and awaken swift affliction to make lightning warp be very good. If you don't have less duration and swift affliction, lightning warp is completely shit. But once you have them, it is basically the best movement skill in the game, maybe with smoke mines, I guess. But that's the idea. So a lot of times during a day, I'm like, I just want to remove Wave of Conviction and go back to lightning warp. It feels so good to have lightning warp and dash. Anyway, then we have the second wind setup with dash, frost shield, and arc and cloak. Since you have a huge amount of mana, why not run arc and cloak? I mean, it's the best guard skill if you have mana and no armor. And I have no armor and I have a lot of mana. Frost shield is excellent for life ES build. It's a perfect spell for this build, therefore. It's almost 4k HP as long as you are standing inside the bubble. And since we are Trickster, the main issue of Frost Shield is that it removes a lot of energy shield when you cast it first. But hey, we are Trickster, so every time we kill something, we recover a lot of energy shield. So basically, you cast it, kill something, and a little trash mob, and you are back to full energy shield with 4k HP. I use this a lot in delves, for example. It's excellent for delving. It's excellent in a lot of cases. For Abyss, for example, excellent. For Blight, excellent. Basically, whenever you don't want to move too much, it's perfect. Then we have the Stormbrand setup. You can use a lot of Stormbrand shit. At the moment, my Stormbrand is basically Stormbrand and Killing Strike, basically, for killing. But you can totally use X-Touch support to also curse with your Stormbrand. At the moment, I have my curse on the corruption on the glove. It is Temporal Chain, because once again, I want my ignite to last 6 seconds. So Temporal Chain is not the best DPS. Remember, it's not the best DPS curse, but it's the best overall damage curse And since my discharge lasts less time than the refresh anyway, temporal chain is the best curse. As long as my discharge doesn't last 8 seconds for a 6-second refresh, temporal chain is the best option. The next good option is flammability and or vulnerability as well works, even though PoB um, doesn't where is it? Curse. PoB doesn't show. Oh, it showed now. Oh, there have been an update. Great. So now it works. But anyway, it's not really mandatory because it scrubs the things a bit because you deal damage faster, and we are already dealing damage faster than the refresh. So vulnerability is not an upgrade in our case. It can in some other version where you don't have the timing right, where you don't have the blowback, I guess. So let's not use it. But flammability is a huge boost, as you can see, in terms of both ignite DPS and overall damage. So once you get Awaken X Touch, I will put it here with flammability, which means Infernal Cry, which is the last spell. Why do I use Infernal Cry? Infernal Cries cover the enemy in ashes, and what does cover in ash does? It says 20% increased fire damage taken for the enemy. So basically see it as 20% more damage or something like that. It's not really like that, but see it like that, I guess. It's more like 10% more damage, in fact. Okay? So it's an upgrade. Chieftain version don't need to use that because they have it here. But we don't, so we have to use Infernal Cry instead. But Infernal Cry has a lot of problems. First of all, it's a Warcry. As you can see, the cast time is very long. There is a very, very long CD, and the buff doesn't last as long as oh well, I guess with increased duration it does. Well, yeah, in our build, since we have a lot of skill duration, well, it works. So if you Warcry on cooldown, the enemy is covered in ash all the time. Since the unique enemy proc full power, it's basically a full covered in ash every time. So I don't know where I'm going to put Infernal Cry once I get X-Touch and Flammability here. I'm a little bit torn. I think I will probably, you know, I'm probably going to remove one of these two. I don't know which one. I'm probably going to remove one of these two and put it here instead, I suppose. Since I was playing with a 5 link for a very, very long time for the Philo spell, and mobs were dying very, very fast anyway. So I guess I will keep Infernal Cry. I don't know yet. I will see when X-Touch get to level 5 and I can curse another with another curse. I guess that's pretty much it, I suppose. I just want to explain the PoB setup because there is a lot of confusion in the Reddit thread about why my PoB DPS is completely shit when you copy it from my PoE Ninja character. PoB, especially if you don't have the fork version, sucks a bit for ignite spells because you have a lot of things to tick to show the real damage. which PoE.Ninja doesn't tick. So let's go through it. Well, this doesn't need to be tick. I'm not always full on Ninja Shield, but I'm almost always full on Ninja Shield when I discharge, since I'm just running away, dodging stuff, and I basically discharge safely. So I guess we can take it into account. I obviously have always full power charge when I discharge, always frenzy charge when I discharge, and if I don't play badly, I also have endurance charges. And because PoB PoE Ninja says I use endurance charges, it screwed up elemental equilibrium. So usually when you copy my character, you get that. Obviously, if you, as you see, the damage goes down very, 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 very fast if you don't check for elemental equilibrium properly in this build. And that's why PoB from PoE Ninja always suck for elemental equilibrium, especially if you are dealing fire damage for an ignite build with endurance charges. Then, do you have Onslaught? I have Onslaught, but we don't care because it doesn't change the damage. Once again, we are only casting once every 2 seconds, so it doesn't care. Then we don't have Tailwind. I don't have to tick it. Same. It doesn't. It's just a movement speed. Elusive. Same. It's just movement speed. We don't have to tick it. I just do it to see some stuff anyway. All of that doesn't care. Kill an enemy, we don't, even though it's real, it's only for region. Shield an enemy, ignite, shock. Once again, this is not ticked usually in PoE Ninja, but it's for Sadist. And as you can see, Sadist is a lot of damage. So unchecking all of these three is a lot of damage loss. And if you are asking, shield, we always shield, even if you deal only a very, very little amount of damage, will shield even Shaper or Cyrus. Ignite, same, as long as you have 100% chance to ignite, you will always ignite. And shock, well, I guess, I don't know if I should cast shock or put shock here, but I mean, look at that damage, look at that lightning damage. It's a stupid amount of lightning damage, so I'm probably shocking even Shaper, even Cyrus. It's a stupid amount of lightning damage anyway, so that's why I only put this amount of shock, and I'm not going full PoB warrior with a stupidly high amount of shock. I think we are shocking for around that, even the best bosses. For the sake of showing, we are only going to put 5%. Basically, I think even the most skeptical people will agree that we are shocking for at least 5%. Have you used a movement skill? Well, we don't care. All that we don't care. I don't check any of these. Usually when you discharge, you are under cat stealth, but it's just a better crit chance, so it's good for elemental overload, I guess. We don't have to attach a brand, but I just check it. Frost shield we don't care, X we don't care, intensify we don't care. This is for Kraken Lens, by the way. Warcry, if we are near a boss, it's 20 power. But so let's just keep it that way. Wave of Conviction is only fire damage. As you can see, it deals. Oh yeah, it's a little bit buggy here. I don't know why immolate. Oh yeah, it's against burning enemies. Obviously, when you ignite, the enemy is also burnt. It's different status. Okay, burning and ignite are different status, but when an enemy is ignited, it is burning. Okay, but when an enemy is burning, he is not always ignited. This is for Righteous Fire, for example, or Flame Wall, for example, work that way. But when you are ignited, you are burning, and therefore we can see that Wave of Conviction. Where is the damage? Damage. how do we see that? Oh, here is it. We can see that we always deal more fire damage than anything else. Okay, so we are applying fire exposure. This is useless. And here we are obviously so ignited. We are burning, obviously. Chilled, obviously. Shock, as I said, for a very little amount. And covered in ash through Infinite Cry. The enemy is Cyrus, so he has a lot of resistance. And we have the elemental equilibrium setup explained. That's why, as you can see, if you uncheck everything like PoE Ninja does, yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. The damage and the effective damage is quickly fading away. Why is my number higher than what I say it is? Good question, actually. I don't know. Oh yeah, because I was messing up with different craft. This is the best eventuality road you can get. This is the one I'm trying to get, and this one is the one I have at the moment. As you can see, 15% less damage, so around 11 million damage. I don't like saying 11 damage. In my eyes, it's more like 10 million damage because, well, I'm not perfect, because there is you need a little bit of time to proc Wave of Conviction, to proc Infernal Cry, to proc Stormbrand, Elemental Equilibrium, and so on. So it's more 10 million than 11 million damage. The rest of the gear, as you can see, is even worse than my real gear at the moment. The jewels are also worst than my real jewels. Oh, I guess this is better. It's nothing. Oh yeah, I have this perk I don't have because I'm not level 97 yet. I'm going to get to level 97. I died a lot showcasing the build because I was doing a lot of boss, but I can totally get to probably level 80, 98, I suppose, but there is no point. I will stop at 87. The next point are these two anyway. So let's remove that. And you can see it's still over 11 million damage. And the best stuff, I think it is on this one, which is absolutely perfect and impossible to get. And as you can see, it's a bit of damage. It's a lot of damage. So just for a stupid amount of damage purpose, just to showcase what the build can do. As you can see, we can quickly get to a lot, and I mean a lot of damage, even more if you don't go mind over matter. You can really get to stupid amounts of damage if you really want. There you go, over 20 million ignite DPS. If I guess you got if you got a lot of money to throw at the build, I suppose. Yeah, you can. I guess we can get even an Ember Wake for stupid amount of Ember Wake is a very good example of what I explained. Look, my ignite DPS is now shit, but my overall damage is stupidly high with Ember Wake. But in the end, it's not very good amount of damage. I'd rather not. So Ember Wake is not actually that good in this build. Yeah, I hope you liked it. Oh, I just wanted to say a little things about the filler spell. You will test yourself what spell you want. Divine Higher is very good. It's For me, it's almost the same as Freezing Pulse. I just prefer Freezing Pulse because I don't have to stop to channel, even if it's a very quick channel. I'd rather cast one and move. And also Freezing Pulse chill enemies, which is nice for defense purposes. Kraken Lens is also very good in this build. It has a huge AoE, huge coverage, and just like Divine Ire, if you spam it, it becomes a big beam that deals a very nice amount of ignite against trash mobs. So I think it's better than Divine Ire as well. I played Kraken Lens a bit, and it felt very good in this build. I just prefer Freezing Pulse once again. Then you have Shock Nova as another option. Shock Nova, because we are not running any form of increased area, is a bit weak. But with Astral Projector, since both Discharge and Shock Nova are Novas, you can perfectly use Astral Projector, being a total hipster. I would probably go with Hierophant version with Archmage. If you choose to go with Shock Nova and Astral Projector, just go Hierophant. Just go Hierophant. Seriously. And go Archmage, and you will still deal absolute insane damage and be very tanky. You can also use Arc. I don't feel like Arc is very good because the best ignite is only the first enemy hit, then it prolif to other enemy, but the other enemy are ignited by other chains, by the chain of the arc. So basically it's a bit wasted, and the coverage is not very good with arc because we are not an arc build, so we are not focused on getting a better arc. So it's a bit bad. It is good, but compared to Kraken Lens, Divine Ire, or Freezing Pulse, it's not very good. You can basically choose any lightning or cold spell as your filler spell, I suppose. Yes. Hope you guys liked it. If you have any question, I'm really active on Reddit. I will answer anything I can. See ya!